So hello guys and welcome back to Equi Edge Research, and today we are going to talk about next chapter of our book known as Mastering the Stock Market Cycles, written by Howard Marks. So basically the next chapter name is the cycle, the nature of the cycle. Basically we will start with a very important Sanskrit phrase that says Ya chakrasya gatina pashyati sa dukasyam karanam na janti. I think this phrase has already summed up our life as well as the investments and the cycles. It says that he who does not see the cycles or he who does not observe the cycle's motion will never understand the cause of suffering. This is very important. We are going to understand about this. I feel this has already summed up the chapter. So basically, when we move to the chapter, Howard says most of the people what they think is a cycle is a group of events that follow a similar sequential chronology. But that is not really right. Most of the people think if we talk about cycles, we have a downtrend and then it moves to the uptrend, and then we feel like the next event should be a downtrend, and they feel like this sequential order continues. But I feel that this is a half knowledge. We also need to see it with a perspective of each downtrend or each uptrend or each event is a cause for the next event. This is very important. So what Howard is trying to explain is, in the habitat of investors, there is not only a concept of cycles that exist, but there is also a concept known as pendulum. So in the investor's habitat, the cycles, they rise and fall, but the pendulum, they swing back and front. What Howard says is most of the cycles or the reason behind cycles are similar and they tend to repeat again and again. What he says is a very good phrase written by Mark Twain. He says history doesn't tend to repeat itself, it rhymes. Let us understand this with an analogy. Let's suppose in the market, in the news, they portray that the market is hot. Now this triggers to the retail investors as well as institutions, and they, in excitement, give a good buy. When there is a buy in excitement without any reason, now there is a strong rise in the value of stocks as well as the markets, and now the stocks and the markets are really becoming overvalued. Soon as when people they realize that the market has become overvalued, they start selling. The correction occurs in the market. People panic, retail investors they panic and they sell in the market. Soon as they sell, the price comes back to the original, or in fact sometimes down than original. And now this cycles repeat again and again. There are a lot of drivers in the market. There are a lot of drivers for the perception that lets the investors to invest and divest in the markets. A very great physicist told that it would be very difficult to understand atoms if they would have emotions. Think about it. The atoms would have emotions. It would be too difficult to understand physics. But the market, it is made of people. It is made of human emotions. It is made of anger. It is made of greed. It is made of overconfidence. And if we lump up all these feelings, it comes into psychology. If we talk about markets, in the longer duration, market tends to grow. Economies, they tend to grow. Balance sheet of companies, they tend to grow with the course of time. And also see the cycles, the reason for the cycle, extent or tenure for the cycle may be different. But the overall crux or the reason would have some similarities with past. There are always going to be ups and downs in the market. And ups and downs is the only reason that helps you create money. You know why money creation happens? Because there is disparity between two people in the terms of psychology. One is optimistic about the market and one is pessimistic about the market. So the last thing that we're talking about economies, if it would work as sciences or if it would have worked fundamentally and it would have grown in a straight line, that was a great thing. But the harsh truth is, it's not that. See, the prices in the markets or the fluctuations in the market that we're talking about, it can have a lot of drivers. There are a lot of other things that drive it. But the most important reason that drives it is people. And to be more precise, it's psychology of people. Basically, it is heavily impacted by, we can say, greed, we can say fear, excitement or panic, etc. If we sum up or lump it up all, it is known as psychology. Let us take an example of examination hall. We have an examination hall and the riskiness or the difficulty level of people doesn't suddenly change. Each and every student in the classroom will get the same exam paper. Now what happens is, some students, by just looking at the exam paper, they get panicked. Some of them, they became overconfident. Why? because they had did extraordinarily well in the last exams. Some of the people tend to copy, looking at other people's they are sweating, they also tend to worry. Now that you say why you explain the story, the reason is the result. If we check out the result, the same exam paper, but each person has performed totally different with respect to what is their feeling or perception towards the examination or the exam paper. Similarly, this happens in the markets. If we talk about markets, let's say there is a good company doing absolutely good in the market. Again, the news came, the market is hot, people get excited, they made a good buy. The valuations, they get overvalued, people tend to realize, and the valuations again move down and the price came back to normal. This is a general cycle that occurs and it almost occurs most of the times. Why did the price move? Now the price didn't move because the company has did something wrong or right. The price moved because of excitement. And what is the excitement? It's a feeling. It's an emotion. Whose emotion? Human emotions. Hence we say in the short term, why do we see the fluctuations in the market or the price movements of up and down in the market? It's mostly because of human behavior. If we talk about the chart, generally we have 3 to 4 to 5 different phases. The first phase is if we start the cycle from the downtrend towards the uptrend, we can say it is moving till the median and then it is moving above the median to reach its high, and then it again moves to the median and then moves more and passes the median and moves down to the downtrend, and here the next cycle begins. Howard Marks says a lot of people try to get insights out of me and they ask me questions. हमें लाइफ में ये पता होना चाहिए कि हमें कौन से टाइप के क्वेश्चंस पूछना है. दैट इज रियली इंपॉर्टेंट. If you don't tend to ask the right questions, you won't get right answers. But if you try to ask right answers, maybe it will take some time to get answers to it if you ask the right questions. But it will make you sure to success. If we talk about questions, so basically most of the people say, what is the reason or what is the cause for the creation of cycle? Or what could be the cause for end of the cycle? ये बिल्कुल ऐसा हो गया जैसे कोई इंसान पूछ रहा है कि मुझको पैदा क्यों किया और वो पूछ रहा है कि मैं कब मरूंगा. Both of the things are uncertain. कोई पूछता है कि मैं क्यों, वी डोंट हैव आंसर टू इट. आप जीव हैं, आप अनादि अनंत हैं, आपको किसी ने बनाया नहीं है और आपको कोई डिस्ट्रॉय नहीं कर सकता. यू आर सिमिलर टू एनर्जी, neither to be created nor to be destroyed. Similarly is case with cycles. Cycle doesn't have any starting point nor the end point. No one can say the cycle starts from here. And what Howard says is cycles are never going to end. तो जैसे यह जीव आदि अनंत था, आदि अनंत है और आदि अनंत रहेगा, इसका कोई बनाने वाला या संग्रहार करने वाला, संहार करने वाला नहीं है, उसी प्रकार cycles were never started and they are never going to stop. They are a never ending processes. रोज सुबह सूर्य का उदय होने वाला है और रात्रि होते होते सूर्य का दहन हो जाएगा और फिर चंद्रमा आएगा. So this is a cycle and this is not going to stop. This is going to be till the solar system exists, till our solar system in the Milky Way galaxy exists. This cycle is going to be there. So we must not ask questions that when the cycle, what is the cause behind the creation of cycle, or what will be the cause or what could be the cause for end of the cycles. So the chain reaction events, they can be only understood by understanding the context of the events that had occurred before. To understand this phrase, we can take a small example. Let us suppose we are playing a game of dominoes. So what happens is, if the last domino falls and you don't see the earlier ones, you probably will tend to ask question, why did this last domino fall? But if you move to the back and if you see the first hit to the first domino, which has hit to the next, then to the next, then to the next, and to the last, then you will be able to know the reason why did the last domino fall. So see, to understand why did the domino fall, you must know what happened before. You must know why the first domino it fell, because someone pushed it and that caused the next domino to fall and that caused the next. Similarly, take the example of the markets, or similarly take the example of cycle. The last cycle caused effect to the creation of next cycle. So what he says is, in the world of finance or in the part of life, results don't come out of nowhere. To understand the present, we need to understand the past. The results are the consequences of the events that have occurred in the past. So you see, when we ask certain questions or someone asks Howard certain questions like why this particular thing has happened, he tries to go back into the time and he makes people understand that these are the set of events which caused the cycle to move this way or which caused the stock to move this way. मतलब कुछ स्टॉक जो आपको पसंद है ना, उसके पीछे की फितरत को जानो, उसकी हैबिट को जानो, उसका पास्ट को जानो। अगर आपको किसी का प्रेजेंट जानना है तो आप उसकी पास्ट की लाइफ की सर्कमस्टांसेस को जानो, then you will be able to betterly analyze that person. The next thing is, then what are the right questions to ask? So the right questions are, what caused the current uplift to begin? So when we are moving in a particular cycle, we can ask that what was the reason for the current uplift. We could have certain reasons for that. The next question could be, how far had we gone since the beginning of the cycle? As I mentioned earlier, there is no beginning of cycle, but in a cycle we can assume any point as the beginning of the cycle for us, and we can create a thesis or antithesis based on that. That why did we choose that point? Or we can ask that, are we close to the end of the down end or down leg? Or we can ask that ever we can ask whether we are close to the end of cycle, but only in situations in the short term where you define it from one peak to another or from one draw to another. मतलब आपने एक पीक से दूसरा पीक बनाया, एक टोटल साइकिल हो गई। तो हमने क्या पूछा कि हम कितने क्लोज है पूरे साइकिल को खत्म। लेट अस सपोज one stock has made a peak of 100 rupees, and then from there we started a downtrend, and then from the downtrend, from moving to the median to the downtrend end, and then back to the median, and then back to the uptrend, making it to the top, next top till 100 or maybe 110. This is the complete cycle. So we can ask that where do we stand currently, or what are our stances on the cycle, or how much time is it still be taken. Actually, no one knows the time, that how much time the cycle is going to occur or how much time a cycle will take, but we can create a prediction on what? Prediction based on pointing out times in the past कि शायद past में इतना time लगा, तो ये एक possibility हो सकती है कि इतना time लग जाए।